Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony Vinchelle with the Stronger You Fitness ASU Fit and the Becoming a Stronger You movement. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I hope everybody's middle of the week, midweek is going really well. If you are with me here today in Facebook land, hop on, say hi, let me know who you are. Let me know where you are watching from. If I've met you before, it's always a pleasure to interact with you. And if I have not met you before, then it would be super duper awesome to get to meet you. So if you are here, hop on, say hi. Let me know where you are watching from. Hey, Linda, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Okay, so this week, we are talking about back fat. All about back fat. Now today we're going to get into a little bit of some leg movements, only because somebody asked me a couple of questions last week about legs, so I wanted to throw a little bit of that in today. But this week is all about back fat. Hey Tesnisha, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. So before we get into anything, let me go back over what we have talked about this week. So in case you have missed anything, you can go back and watch some of the other videos. Of course, they're always up. So Monday, we talked about where your underbra back fat, that upper back fat, why you have the underbra fat, where it comes from, and what you can do about it. Hey, so that was Monday. Now on Tuesday, we talked about your lower back fat. That was yesterday. We talked about where it comes from, why you have it, what you should be doing about it, okay? Today, we are going to be talking about why you should be incorporating deadlifts into your routine, especially if you have the back fat. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. Tomorrow we are going to talk about why incorporating yoga and Pilates is going to be really important if you are definitely trying to fight off the back fat. And then on Friday, 5 Tips Friday, we are going to be discussing 5 tips. I will give you 5 tips that you can use immediately to help you start fighting off your back fat. Okay, so I hope that all this information is helpful. I hope you guys have been taking lots and lots of notes and saving the videos and going back and watching them and all that kind of stuff. You definitely want to make sure that you are saving this one. And because today we're going to do a little bit of a workout demonstration. So I'll show you a couple of things. I'm going to show you a few different variations of the deadlift. I think I'm going to throw in a few other back exercises as well, talk about how some of those exercises work the legs as well. So today we're going to have a little bit of a workout session or workout demonstration here in my office. So hopefully you enjoy that. I'm going to enjoy it. All right, so really quickly before we get into the demonstration, I do have my pink folder here. You know, we all know pink folder, but I'm not pulling anything from the pink folder today because it's a workout demonstration, but I wanted to show you the pink folder because it's cute and I just need you to know that the pink folder is here. Okay, all right, so let me find this page and I'm gonna pull it out. So I want to show you something. One of the reasons why deadlifts are extremely important, especially when you learn how to do them safely, is because the deadlift is one of the few exercises that actually works so many muscles in the upper body as well as the lower body. Hey Tamisha, how are you? Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So with proper form, if you can execute the deadlift safely and properly, you will hit so many muscles in your upper back, you will hit muscles in your lower back, you will hit muscles in your glutes, you will hit muscles in your hamstrings, and you will even utilize muscles in your abdominals. So before I got into the actual workout demonstration, I wanted to show you this picture so that you could see. So yesterday I showed you a picture of the different back muscles, but in this one, I want you to pay attention to this photo right here. Now, I don't know if those words are going to be backwards for you, but basically this is showing you all of the muscles that are recruited when you work deadlifts. So every single muscle that you see here that is colored in, these are superficial muscles as well as the deeper muscles as well. You see you've got muscles here in the arms all the way up to the shoulders, upper back, lower back, you've got some obliques, the glutes, as well as the hamstrings. So when you are properly executing the deadlift, these are all of the muscles that you are recruiting. These are all of the muscles that you are helping to develop. These are all of the muscles that you are using. And these kinds of workouts, these kinds of compound exercises are extremely important, especially when you don't have a lot of time. When your time is limited because of work, because of business, because of family obligations, whatever the situation may be, then you have to make sure that you are getting the most out of your workout time. Whether that workout time is here in the gym, or if it's at home or at a hotel, you've got to make sure that you are getting the most out of your workouts. And so if back fat, upper and lower, is definitely an issue for you, then you want to make sure that you are incorporating these deadlifts, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take off my lab coat here. I have some weights here. Now, I've got a set of 20-pound dumbbells and a set of 30-pound dumbbells. I don't have a bar in here because there was just no way that I was going to be able to get a bar in my office. And I didn't take you all out to the floor only because there's other trainers on the floor and it's kind of full right now, and other people's clients, and not everybody wants to be on camera, and I don't have a media release for those people. So that's the reason why we're here in my office as opposed to being out on the floor. But give me a minute and let me get some stuff off. Just gonna put this over here to the side, and I want to go ahead and give you all a full view. I know not too long ago somebody was asking what my body looked like, so I wanted you all to know that I'm not just this chick here in a lab coat. I do actually do some of the stuff that that I say that you should do, okay? Okay, so let me see what I can do to fix this camera and play with some of the angles so that you guys can see everything that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to try to see if maybe if we go on this side. All right, so just give me a minute here. I've got to play around with this thing because I don't really know all the different angles. And I don't normally work out in my office, so but I want you guys to be able to see everything that I'm doing. My dumbbells. All right, hold on. Okay, so you may not be able to actually see the dumbbells hit the floor. But I want you, really what I want you to pay more attention to is just sort of my back positioning, my ab positioning, and all of that. So just know that, you know, the deadlifts are hitting the floor. Okay, so these are 20s, and that's what we're gonna go ahead and start off with. So what I'm gonna show you right now is a variation of the deadlift called the Romanian deadlift. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm putting my feet shoulder width apart, and the difference between the Romanian deadlift and the straight leg deadlift is that you're actually going to allow your knees to bend naturally. So what I always tell everybody to do is stand up straight, roll your shoulders back. You're gonna pretend like your belly button is an actual button. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna push the button in, and I'm going to push my hips out. And when I push my hips out, my knees are going to bend naturally. So I'm not bending them on purpose. I'm going to demonstrate that for you again. Let me bring this down just a little bit further so you can actually see what's going on with my knees, because I do want you to see that as well. So hopefully if I do this, you can see. Maybe bring it down just a little bit further. So we may have to compromise. You may not see as much of my face, but I just really want you to get the movement. Okay, so hopefully you can see. So here are my knees right here, and okay, so you can see that. All right, so I'm here again. Okay, I'm gonna stand up straight, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push my hips back. So I'm pushing my hips back, and if you notice, my knees are naturally bending. So what I'm not doing is I'm not purposefully bending my knees, okay? That's completely different. I'm pushing my hips back and allowing my knees to bend naturally. Now, in this position, I can feel this in my lower back as well as in my hamstrings, okay? So from right here, I'm gonna stand straight up, and I like to squeeze on the way up. Now, when you squeeze on the way up, I see a lot of people do this. Don't do this, you're gonna injure your back. So you're gonna push the hips back, and you're gonna stand up and squeeze into a straight position. You're gonna push the hips back, my knees are bending naturally, and you're gonna squeeze into a natural position. We're gonna go back, pushing the hips back, and squeeze into a natural position, pushing the hips back, pushing the hips back, pushing the hips back, nice flat back, squeeze into a natural position. Now, let me know that you were able to see that. Were you able to see that? Does it make sense? Let me know if you have any questions before I move on into the next one. Hey Lila, thank you. Okay, so you can see it. Okay, so everybody was able to see that. Did that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that particular movement before I move into the next one? Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, what I'm gonna tell you is right now, just on those few sets, I can actually feel that here as well as here. And when you stand up and squeeze, then you actually get the upper back as well. So that's why you wanna stand up and squeeze into that natural position. Now that's the Romanian deadlift. And typically when I teach the deadlift to someone who's not used to doing the deadlifts, that's the one that I normally start with, because that's the one that's safer. Now I'm going to show you the stiff leg or the straight leg deadlift. That one is a little bit more challenging, and if you are not used to doing the deadlifts, it's a little bit more dangerous. So I would advise that unless you are with a trainer or unless you are actually used to doing this one, you may not want to try it. But I'm going to go ahead and show it to you just so that you have that variation, okay? Now, what you guys see me doing with the dumbbells, you can also do with the bar, okay? It's just that I couldn't bring a bar here in my office because, as you can see, I didn't have that much space. But you can do the same thing with the bar. So now I'm going to show you the straight leg. Now, here's the difference. Now, because I've had boys, and boys do something a little bit different to the hips, when I do straight legs, I almost sort of hyperextend. So I have to be super duper careful when I do them, okay? So you're right here, okay? Notice I'm still pushing my hips back, but I am purposefully not allowing my knees to bend. The other thing that's important is your breathing. Deep breath in, exhale, up. Deep breath in, exhale, up. So that's the straight leg. Now the reason why this one, to me, would be more of an advanced, because it tends to pull more on the popliteal, which is this area back here behind the knees where you have all of these nerves that meet right back here behind the knees. So if you're not used to that particular exercise, then you could put yourself at risk of injury. And even if you don't injure yourself, if you're not used to it, it makes it super uncomfortable when the soreness comes. So just kind of be careful with that one, okay? Does anybody have any questions about that movement before I get into the next one? Any questions? Let me know if you have any questions before I move on. Or if you got it, just let me know that you got it. Thank you. All right, so we got that one. Okay, now the next one, awesome. Thank you, Lila. So no questions. Thank you, Tamisha. Okay, so the next one we're gonna do is the sumo deadlift. Now, remember, I've got dumbbells and I don't have the bar, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to simulate what I would do if I did have a bar, okay? So typically when I have a bar, and this is what I would suggest for you, because most people are just not used to grabbing that kind of weight. I normally will take one hand under and one hand over. So this is how I typically grab the bar. If you have really strong hands, I've got small girly hands, so when I try to grab both hands over, it tends to strain my wrist a lot more if I'm not wearing wrist straps. If I'm wearing wrist straps, it's not a problem, but I typically don't wear them. So I will go one hand under and then one hand over. So I'm gonna grab my 20s here and I'm gonna demonstrate for you. So we're gonna pretend like this is a bar, okay? And I've got one hand over and one hand under. Now the sumo deadlift, your legs are literally out sumo style. Now remember, we're pretending this is a bar. So same thing, push your hips back. You're gonna sit down in the chair. Sit down in the chair. So I'm gonna go to the side so that you see what it looks like. I like to turn my feet out clown's feet because it just makes it more comfortable for me, okay? Push my hips back. I'm gonna sit down in the chair, weights hit the ground. Sit down in the chair, weights hit the ground. Now I'm gonna turn to the back. I don't normally like doing this, but I just wanna see you, I just wanna show you guys what it looks like. So here I am. I think you can see me. Feet turned out clown's feet. Sit down in the chair. Okay? That's your sumo deadlift. Anybody have any questions about that one before we move on? Questions, comments? Okay. I'm gonna assume, awesome. I'm gonna assume that we got that one. So now, I think I want to show you a couple of other exercises that you can incorporate. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things to help you get more bang out of your butt. So the next exercise is going to be the one-armed dumbbell row. But I'm going to show you two different variations. I'm going to show you one variation that isolates the back area here, which will help with that bra fat if you have the bra fat here. But then I'm also going to show you another variation that helps you to pull from the abdominal area as well. It says, okay, no problem, Lila. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you coming on, so thank you. Okay, so the one-arm rows, I'm going to do those with the 30 pounds just because that's a little bit more challenging for me. And that's what I like to do. So, let me demonstrate with the chair. Normally when I don't have access to a bench, I can actually do them without holding on to something, but for most of you, you'll have like a bench, or if you're doing this at home, you'll have a chair or something like that that you can use, okay? So we're gonna pretend, let me see how far back I can get this to go. Okay, so we're gonna pretend like this is my bench. Now, here's what I see a lot, okay? They'll come right here, leg is right here, and they'll just be picking up right here. And while you're getting some of the back muscle, you're not really maximizing that movement because you're not in proper form, you're not in proper position. So what I like to tell people and what I do myself if I'm actually going to use a bench is you're going to place, if I'm going with my right hand, you're going to place your left hand here. You're going to take this leg all the way back, okay? All the way back to where I can get a nice flat back here. Now I'm going to pick up the dumbbell, okay? Stretch out a little bit, and from right here, okay, now notice what you don't see me do is this. Because when I release the weight, when I'm here, I'm feeling for this. Once I feel, and I can't get my hand all the way back there, but I can feel it from here and around. Once I actually feel those muscles engage, then I'll pick up the dumbbell. So I'm going to show it to you again. There's a difference between me just doing this, which looks really, really good to anybody else in the gym. But really, if I'm doing that, I'm probably doing more cardio than I am actually working that muscle group. So here we are again. Okay, I'm right here, and I'm gonna pull. And I'm gonna feel for the engagement and pull again. Feel for the engagement and pull. My elbow is really nice and close, and pull. Show it to you on the left side. Okay, now I'm gonna have to have this chair here. Okay, so right here, leg is all the way back. Okay, nice flat back. Feel for the engagement. Feel. 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 Okay, that's what you're feeling for. All right, any questions about that movement before I show you the next variation? How we doing? If we're doing all right, just give me a thumbs up. Say okay. Awesome, thank you, Lila. Okay, so the next variation that I'm going to show you is the one that not only gets you back here, but it will also pull you in here, and it will also get your glutes, your hamstrings, and some quads as well. Thank you, Tamisha. Awesome. Okay, so again, remember, if you don't have enough time, if you have very limited time, then it becomes extremely important for you to maximize what you are doing in the gym. So what you're going to do this time is you're sort of going to, this is the bench, so if the bench is straight, you're going to turn your body sort of at an angle. So I'm at an angle right here, okay? I'm going to open my legs a little bit beyond shoulder width, okay? And then what I'm going to do is push the button, sit down in the chair. I'm going to squat down, okay? And from this position, I'm going to move out so you all can see it. From this position, okay? So in that variation, not only do I get my back muscles, but I'm also getting some of my hips, I'm getting my glutes, I'm getting my quads, and I'm also pulling here from my abs as well as my obliques. So I'm going to show you on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the side, okay? Right here, nice flat back, squat down in the chair. Okay? Those 5. Awesome, Lila. I'm glad that this was helpful. So, now, again, that pulls on the abs, that pulls on the butt, pulls on the hamstrings, upper back as well, lower back. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some dumbbell flies. Now, very important, let me go ahead and say this. Typically, I actually use heavier weights, but I didn't want to be slamming the weights here on the floor. But you don't necessarily have to go as heavy as I do if that's not something that you're used to doing. Okay, so what I don't want is a situation where you say, okay, well, Tony said I need to go heavy, and then you go in there and you grab a 45-pound dumbbell and you throw your back out. Heavy is relative. Heavy is relative. Now, when we're talking about the back and those muscle groups, so remember last week when I told you, I said abs, calves, triceps, those, and your glutes. When I talked about heavy, I was talking about in terms of like 20 reps. But when you're working like your back, your quads, those groups, when I say heavy, I am talking about anywhere from 6 to 10 reps. Okay, so if you're gonna go heavy, then if you're doing 6 to 10 reps, then that last 3 to 5 should be a lot for you to pull. If you're going for lighter weight with more reps, then let's just say you're doing 15, that last 5 should still be a challenge for you to be able to pull out, okay? So again, you don't have to go as heavy as I do. Heavy is going to be relative for you, but you do need to be honest with yourself and make sure that you are challenging yourself, okay? So the last thing I'm gonna show you are the flies. Now, again, if you have the underbrow fat, then this is definitely an exercise that you want to make sure that you are incorporating. How do we determine the number of pounds that we should use? So, okay, Lila, as soon as I do this demonstration, I'm actually going to tell you all how to put this stuff together in your own workout, and then we'll talk about like how to determine how many pounds you should use, number of reps, things of that nature, okay? So let me go ahead and show you guys the rows, the flies, I'm sorry, and then we'll go ahead and move on. All right, so I like to have my space. All right, so notice that in most of what I've been showing you all today, we start off from the same position. So remember earlier this week, we were talking about posture, and we were talking about the difference between, you know, standing like this and the difference between standing like this. So this is typically how you're going to start most of your movements. And if you become accustomed to having this posture, then it won't be so foreign to you. But you're going to start off, chest is to the sky, your shoulders are rolled back and down, everything's nice and relaxed, okay? So, and by the way, I'm not poking my butt out. I had somebody actually ask me that question before. I'm not poking my butt out. That's literally, like, honestly and truly, that's how I'm built. So you're not doing this. This is not proper posture. It's very relaxed. Everything is nice and straight up. That's what we're looking for, okay? So, if I've got my dumbbells from this position, and let me step out a little bit because this is going to take up some room. So from this position, I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going to go into a Romanian deadlift like position. So I'm going to push my hips back, get myself nice and flat. Okay, that's what it looks like from the side. Pushing my hips back. Okay. That's what it looks like from the front. Okay? Any questions? I would put my lab coat back on, but I'm hot now. Okay, so what did we go through today? We went through the Romanian deadlift. We went through the straight leg deadlift. We went through the one arm dumbbell row. And I showed you how to isolate that for the back, as well as the other variation that helps you incorporate more of your abdominals. And then we threw in the flies. So those were 5 different exercises. We're gonna go ahead and say 4, because if you're not used to doing the straight leg deadlifts, I don't really want you doing those, because it's too much. Or let me say this, the probability that you would injure yourself is too high. So we're gonna say 4 exercises, all right? So if you want to do this for, let's just say, lighter weights, more reps, okay? Then you're looking at doing anywhere from 12 to 20 reps. Says, I have to go back and watch from the beginning. Hey Tyra, thank you for joining. Yeah, definitely go back, because I did a whole demonstration on a bunch of back exercises that are really going to be cool. So anywhere from 12 to 20 reps. Now that is going to be based on your level of endurance. If you have not done these kinds of workouts before, then you probably want to stick to somewhere between 12 and 15 reps. If you have, if you're somebody like me, who maybe has been an athlete, which I really wasn't an athlete, I started bodybuilding in 2013. But either way, but you're a little bit more used to this, or if you are an adrenaline junkie like me, then you can shoot for those 20 reps, okay? But if you're new, again, 12 to 15 is really what you want to be doing. And remember, the last 3 to 5, you've got to be able to dig, have to dig deep to be able to pull those out. If you are not digging for those last few, then it's not heavy enough. And the only way to find that out is to take some time to, if you have a gym membership, go into the gym and test this out. If you don't have a gym membership, then you have some weights at home, the only thing that you can do is really just test out what it is that you have. And so what you'll do is you run the exercise, and if the last 3 to 5 reps don't challenge you, then on the next set you need to go up. I typically go up 5 pounds at a time. Some places have weights where they're like 2.5 at a time, but whatever the next set of weights would be. So if you started with 10 and 12 is the next set of weights that's available, then go to 12. If you started with 15 and 17.5 is the next set that's available, then go to 17.5. But basically what you do is you go through the first time, let's say this is the first time you're doing this, you go through and you just continue to increase your weight. And at the point at which the last 3 to 5 become a challenge for you, then you go ahead and write that down. Now, at that point, you have 2 choices. You have 2 choices. Let's say it takes you maybe 6 sets to get to that point. You could choose to just write your weight down and say, okay, the next time I come in, then I now know that I need to start here. Or if you're crazy like me, you can say, okay, now this is where my sets start. It's totally your choice, and that just has to do with the amount of time that you have, the amount of endurance that you have, and how safe you feel doing those exercises at the time. So that's going to be your protocol if you decide that you're going to go for lighter weights and more reps. If you are going to go for heavier weights and fewer reps, which is, hey Nikki, how are you? Which is anywhere from 6 to 8, or maybe even 6 to 10, then it would be the same protocol. The last 3 to 5, you need to make sure that you're digging to pull out, especially if you're gonna go heavy. Because a lot of people say, oh, I'm going heavy, and they think that because it's uncomfortable, oh, that must be heavy. No. That's not heavy. That's uncomfortable. And there's a difference between uncomfortable and what's really heavy. So what I would suggest is, if you are not used to this kind of activity, if you've not done this before, then I would strongly advise against trying to go with the heavy weight technique because you're more likely to injure yourself. And also what happens with the heavier weight technique is that you have to make sure that you've eaten a lot, or that you've eaten enough. You have to make sure that you've had enough sleep. You have to make sure that you have enough energy, because if you try to start with the heavy weight technique and you're not used to it, you're gonna have a crappy workout, because you're gonna do one set and then you're gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna pass out. And then that's literally all you're gonna be able to do. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen here, where you go in and it's one set and the person is like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. You can't do anything else at that point. Now it's time for you to go home, and so you literally have wasted a workout session. So if you're not working with a professional and this is the first time you're trying to do something like this, I would strongly advise against starting off with the heavyweight technique. Okay, but for those of you who are used to it, the protocol is the same. You're going to start off with one set of weights, get to 6 to 8 reps, and if you're not pulling for those last 3 to 5, then on the next set you need to go up. On the next set you need to go up until it gets to the point to where you're really digging for that last 3 to 5. And then when you get there, again, you have a choice. You can either say, okay, let me go ahead and write this down, and the next time I come in, this is where I will start. Or if you're crazy like me, you'll say, okay, now this is where my reps start. Now let's go to work. So it just depends on what it is that you're going to be comfortable with and what it is that you're used to. Now, I gave you 4 exercises. You could literally put those 4 exercises together in a whole workout all for yourself. You could superset them, which, actually superset really means that you're working 2 opposing muscle groups. Not that you're doing 2 exercises back to back. So you can do them in doubles. You can do them one at a time. A fun thing that you can do is you can do one exercise and maybe do 50 reps on abs, then do the next exercise and do 50 reps on abs, and then do the next exercise and 50 reps on abs, and then the next exercise and 50 reps on abs, and you can call all that one set. That's a really fun thing to do. It's fun for me. I don't know if it would be fun for you, but you can do little things like that. You can do the exercise one at a time and throw in a hit set. Maybe if you're right next to a treadmill, maybe you jump on the treadmill and you sprint for 30 seconds. Maybe you do squat jumps for 30 seconds. Maybe you jump rope, maybe you say, I'm going to do 25 ropes. That's something that you can do. Or if you're totally not used to it, you can do one exercise, rest until you catch your breath, do another exercise, rest until you catch your breath. Or you can do one exercise, 4 sets, the next exercise, 4 sets, the next exercise, 4 sets. But the bottom line is you have 4 different exercises that you can now use to create a complete workout for yourself. And this workout is specifically designed to help recruit those muscles that you are going to need to develop, both the superficial as well as the deeper muscles in there, to help you fight off that back fat, to help you start developing those muscles and tightening those muscles and strengthening those muscles so that you are less likely to accumulate fat in that area. Okay, so I know that was a lot. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. And I apologize for my coat being back here and now everything is all messy and all of that. But I wanted to get to the demonstration and show you all some things that you could do. So let me know what you think. Any questions, any comments, screams of fury and pain, let me know what you think. And if you think of anything at the end of this video, you can always come back, drop some comments, drop a question. If you watch this video and you go to the gym and maybe you don't remember something, or you try to do a workout, or you try to do a move and it doesn't feel the way that you think that it should feel, come back and feel free to drop any of those questions here underneath the comments as well, and I'll definitely make sure that I speak to those when I see them. Okay, so who's got questions? Questions, comments, screams of fury and pain. Who's got questions? Oh, we did good today on time. Check out my calendar, because you guys know if you're in Houston, I give like 11 opportunities throughout the week to come and hang out with me at the gym, totally complimentary. So you can find that at asufit.com/calendar. So make sure that you definitely check out my calendar to see what's available for you to come by and see me here. Remember yesterday and the day before we talked about eating, because I can show you all of this stuff, and if you're not eating properly, if you still have bad eating habits, you're still going to have the underbrow fat, you're still going to have the lower back fat, you're still going to have the saddles. So if you have not downloaded that infographic, asufit.com/4busyprofessionals, make sure that you go and download that infographic so that you can have access to that information. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Let me know. Questions, comments, screams of fury and pain. Okay, so I don't think anybody has any questions. Let me see. I know sometimes there's a delay. I know yesterday I was closing out and then all of a sudden all these questions came through. So, hey, what just happened? Okay, I don't like that swipe left, swipe right stuff. That just came out of nowhere. Okay, so if you have anything that comes up after this, let me know. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate your time and your attention. Just know that I love you all, and until we speak again, stay strong, stay beautiful, and always work towards becoming a stronger you. Peace out.